Hey, Thom Shea, this is Joshua Cook from BenSwan.com, and I know that you've been on a lot of the other media outlets. I've been watching that, and it seems like, wow, can you really trust this administration? It seems like they're spending a lot. I mean, there's a lot of unanswered questions regarding the Bergdahl exchange with Sergeant Bergdahl, and it's amazing because you're from South Carolina, you're just down the road from me, so it's amazing that you took a team to try to rescue Sergeant Bergdahl in 2009 in a pretty hostile environment. And I know reports said that even there were six soldiers that lost their lives trying to find him. And now you're getting reports that he may have deserted, or that he may waged jihad. I mean, there's a lot of different stories in the media right now, but I wanted to talk to you about it to get your perspective, because you were actually there trying to find him. So
it's hard to separate all the spin from the fact, and so what is hard for the public and even the military to try to figure out how to communicate that is, irregardless of what happened, what the meaning or what the reason was for Bergdahl leaving, it's getting lost in all this spin. So whether he is a convert, whether he's a prisoner or anything, first of all, he is a soldier until somebody declares him not that way, and he's a U.S. citizen.
Right.
So we had to go after him. It doesn't matter the reason. We knew that it wasn't in an extremist situation that he'd been held captive. We knew at the time that he'd walked off base under his own demise, if you will. It's still a priority for us as what we do is we're a rescue unit. It's not our primary mission, but it is what we do. And I would still do it today. The reasons for all that are irregardless of what the tasking is, and we are tasked to do it. And we just found a way to do it as safely as possible. And combat's never safe, I can tell you that.
Right, yeah, especially just reading some passages of your new book, Unbreakable. It's pretty intense firefights that you were involved with, just putting your life on the line for our freedom. I do have one question too. You made a statement that you. And this is the statement, I've never heard of one trading one pawn for 5 kings before. And this is regarding this whole controversial exchange by Obama, trading Sergeant Bergdahl for 5 top-tier Taliban terrorists. You call it a plan, a part of a plan. So what's the end game here? Why this particular soldier?
Well, that's the administration is not doing the negotiations. The administration is a higher level. The people that do these negotiations are at a lower level. The CIA, I don't know who it is, but it's not President Obama himself. He's not the negotiator. It's being done at a lower level. So State Department and CIA are the ones negotiating this, or it could be NSA. I don't know, but it's obviously, it's not in support or defense of the administration. They're not the negotiators. This is of a bigger plan. It can't be as silly as trading Bergdahl for the 5 kings. I think it's a diversion, and I don't know what the diversion is. But if that's what they played that card for Bergdahl, I really want to go play poker with that negotiator, because I'm going to win every hand. If I just got to put in $1 for $5 million, I'll play every hand. Because that's really what's in effect, is we gave everything and got nothing in return but a guy that, worst case scenario, he has PTSD. Or best case scenario is he has PTSD. Worst case is he's declared a traitor, and he'll stand trial for that. But I would never negotiate for that guy. I'd risk my life for him, but I wouldn't leverage national assets for it.
In your opinion, how dangerous are these 5?
It's a weird question that people ask, because you got to take it in the perspective of where you're thinking danger is going to happen. War can't be any more dangerous. It's not going to make the war environment any more dangerous. It's already at 100%. And you can't get to 110% danger. So the war efforts and soldiers' lives aren't going to be any more dangerous right now, because it's already as high as it can possibly be. What that's going to do is it's going to embolden, the different networks that are Muslim out there that are extremists. I'm sure they just use any possible way to embolden themselves. And if these guys get used, or they use their technology or their smarts to go after Americans, and just remember, it's always a vote away. You can always vote this guy out of office and get in a different administration, and he'll be judged on the merits of his decision. We just don't know what the decision was.
Right. And so what are some of the points missed by the media on this story?
Mm-hmm. Who is doing the negotiations? It's not. I seriously doubt if it's Suit and Rice. But my understanding is that it's a matter of state. It's a State Department, CIA negotiation. It's not national security, because it's not within the United States. So why don't we ask the people who are doing the negotiations what they can say about it? They're not going to tell you everything, but I'd like to know what the negotiation is. And what's the deal? They're not going to say it, but you got to ask the people, what's the real deal? We didn't get Bergdahl for 5. We didn't give up 5 to get Bergdahl. There's another deal in play.
Yeah, and I think it's apparent that there's a lot of mistrust in going on with the Obama administration right now and those departments, and it seems that they're just not being forthright. I mean, our position is not to negotiate with terrorists, and it seems like it's apparent that's what this trade is all about. Even though that you have Jay Carney spinning, this whole issue. But I don't know. I mean, I look at guys like you. You're risking your life. Your family, are sacrificing for the free to stay, help this country remain a free country. And just shifting gears, we have this whole conflict, and also in Syria right now. In parts of the Middle East, you have Lindsey Graham and John McCain, helping the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. You have the Saudi situation that are arming the Al Qaeda network, the Al Nusra Front in Syria, and all the while, of course, they're supposed to be our allies. But yet we're fighting Al Qaeda and Taliban in other parts of the Middle East. I mean, it's just very confusing for the average American to say, I just don't understand, why are we arming terrorists in one parts of the region, and yet we're fighting for them in Afghanistan? What's your whole perspective on that?
Well, that's really why 200 plus years ago, the framers of the Constitution put 3 branches in play, so that one branch cannot make all these decisions themselves. What's going on now is the executive branch is taking action without getting approval. Yeah. Whether it's right or wrong, that's what's causing this. It's not really of our national interest to get involved over there.
Right.
Syria or Libya. It doesn't protect us, or it doesn't help us. It's a different game, and it should have approval through Congress and with the military advisors.
Right.
And it's not happening. So we don't know what the game is.
Right. Yeah, and we're spending a lot of money as well. you know, $50 billion a year goes to foreign aid, and a lot of that's going to countries that don't even like America. So, you know, so let's talk about your book, Unbreakable. It's doing really well, isn't it? It's selling pretty good.
It's fun. It's actually fun simply because it wasn't really meant to do anything but pass on to my kids what I wanted them to know in case I died.
Right.
And we didn't have the intent to make a book out of it or manuscript out of it, if you will. And as it started to grow and it got some you know, not popularity, but it got some people behind it that knew how to get it published. It became exciting. It really was just, you know, Stacy and I trying to, you know, figure out how to pass on something to the kids because, you know, the war is dangerous. So it grew out of that. It was just lessons learned for me as a father to a family, and then trying to write that in some kind of linear form that the kids could read eventually because they're too young to read it now. And as it grew, it got some endorsements and sponsors by people who had read it and wanted it to do more than just be written in crayon and dirt on, you know, manuscript. And now it's doing really well simply because I think it doesn't, you know, it's not a self-serving message. It's more, you know, what fathers have always wanted to be able to tell their kids, and most of us never get the time to actually put it on paper. So I think it's kind of a universal message.
Yeah, you know, and I heard you speak before, and I tell you what, sometimes it keeps me up at night. When you were explaining that moment where you were under fire, and the sniper was trying to basically take you out, and you know, the words of your wife, you know, the letters that she would write, just kept you going. And it to me, it was inspirational for people that are in any type of struggle, not to give up, but to get back up and fight. And of course, I don't want to give the story away. I would just encourage everybody to go read the book, especially that intense moment where you were facing death, but you were able to get up and overcome an incredible challenge, life and death situation. There again, I won't give it away, but
yeah.
As I tell you what, I mean, just with anybody struggling with a situation, it seems like you can draw parallels. You know, whatever you're going through, you know, don't give up. You get back up.
I think so too. It's, you know, obviously, no, I wouldn't want everybody to go into combat to experience how powerful they are. You know, but I've been able to. You know, I taught. I was a SEAL instructor for 3 years, and then I was a part of an effort to lead the SEAL sniper course and transform that. And you know, we struggled with making that a better curriculum. But what I got from all that is what really stops people is not, you know, their physical abilities or even their goals. It's they stop themselves. And I learned that as an instructor in SEAL training, where 85% of the people who start don't make it. And they don't make it because they give up. And then once you give up, you physically can't do it. And then how that showed up for me in Afghanistan is I gave up. For a small period of time, I just thought I was not going to make it, and I didn't think my guys were going to make it. And for a small period of time, we couldn't do anything about it. We were overwhelmed. And the only thing that changed is we just decided to rally and fight until we were dead instead of just dying. And it made all the difference. And you can translate that to business. You can translate that to, you know, being in a fight with your wife, how you kind of give up on it and then it's done, or you start over and get back at it.
Yeah, I think that's definitely inspirational. And of course, I can't let you go until you know, today's D-Day. We're celebrating D-Day, and all the brave soldiers out there. Is there any comments you would like to make for any veterans that are listening right now?
But just imagine all those guys back in D-Day knowing that it gets really lonely at that last second before you go into a firefight. And for that period of time, you feel alone, and you don't recognize that 80-some years later, or 70-some years later, it's 80 today, isn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah, something like that. So 80 years later, people would recognize your efforts as, since that soldier or sailor didn't quit on Normandy, we have the life that we have now. And to all the guys that didn't make it, they're looking on, hoping that we get it. And the guys that did make it and their families are still alive because they just took one more step. And my hat's off to them. I've been there. And I'm glad that we're able to continue, even in the frustration of a kind of a weird executive branch. We're still a powerful nation because we believe in each other. And that to me is the greatest message, is that we're going to continue on together. And so to all the veterans and all the families that are still kicking, don't give up and keep moving on together.
Well, Thom, thanks so much for your time. And just before we go, where can people find more information about your book, Unbreakable?
Well, it's in all the bookstores now. It can be at Barnes & Noble or any of the brick-and-mortar stores. We have a website where we run an organization that teaches the lessons from the book. It's called Adamantine Alliance. And you can search that on the web, and we're rocking it. And I hope everybody enjoys the book.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I need to just take a long vacation and read it in a hammock or something like that. So, but I know you've been busy, and I love to touch base with you if any new information comes out about Berdal. And thank you so much for your time. I do appreciate it.
Well, thank you, sir. Thanks for calling.
Thanks, Thom. Take care.